Hi everyone, we are doing Scholarship Calculus question 1C 2022. Given x to the power of 4 plus x cubed minus 4x squared plus x plus 1 equals 0 and x is negative, find the exact value of x cubed plus 1 over x cubed. Right. I believe we have to factorize this equation. So we have to find factor using factor theorem. So I wonder if I say this is f of x, right? I wonder if I plug 1, I get 0. 1 plus 1 minus 4 plus 1 plus 1. It is a, so that is a 0. That means I've got x minus 1 times something to do with x cubed. So cubic, right? So I guess the last one is negative 1. But instead of we matching them up, we use either synthetic method or long division. So I'm going to use a synthetic method. I'm not going to teach you synthetic method right now, but yeah, it is like variation from long division. So you write the coefficient of x. So 1 1 negative 4 1 1, isn't it? See, 1 1 negative 4 1 and 1, right? And you have to write this number. So when x is 1, that becomes 0. So say 1 here. When you start, that number just carries down. Okay, that's the kind of rule. And then you multiply by that number. 1 times 1, which is 1. Add up to 2, isn't it? 2 times 1 is 2. Add up to negative 2. Times by 1 gives me negative 2. Add up to negative 1. Negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. Add up to 0. So the last one, remainder, must be 0. If it's not, you should be worried. So that's wrong. So look, that's the coefficient of cubic. So what I've got is 1x cubed, right? And then 2x squared, and then minus 2x and minus 1, right? So, well, that's the step 1. Step 2, we have to break this down, factorize it again, right? So say g of x equals x cubed plus 2x squared minus 2x minus 1, right? So according to factor theorem, if I plug 1 again, 1 plus 2 minus 1, which is 0. Great news. So, not 1, that's 0. So, that means we use synthetic method again to make it quadratic. And then finally, we factorize it, or using the quadratic formula to solve the equation, quartic equation. So see the coefficient is 1, 2, negative 2, negative 1, right? So as I said, it's 1 there. That's the number we have to multiply. So 1 carries down. The first number just carries down. So 1 times 1 gives me 1. Add up to 3. Times by 1 is 3. Add up to 1. Times by 1 is 1. The remainder is 0. Right? So that indicates this is right. Yeah? So do you remember the first time we got x minus 1? And then second time we got x minus 1 again, so squared. And this is quadratic as well. So x squared from 1x squared, and 3 means 3x, and then plus 1 equals 0, right? Now try to factorize it. We can't, right? So we've got to use the quadratic formula, or completing the square. Just using quadratic formula would be easier. So x equals what? X equals minus b plus minus square root of b squared which is 9, minus 4ac over 2a, right? So, which is minus 3 plus minus square root of 9 minus 4, which is 5 over 2. Okay, so do you remember the question says x is negative? So when I find the solutions, so x must be 1 repeated, right? Or negative 3 plus minus square root of 5 over 2. Obviously, this is not the one we are finding because it's positive. So these two answers, which is negative 3 plus square root of 5 over 2, which is negative, right? Because square root of 5 is 2.2 something. And negative 3 minus square root of 5 over 2 is obviously negative. So these are negative numbers. So that should be the answer. But I'm wondering, because the question says exact value, not values. So I assume when I calculate this, it will end up the same number. So, okay, I will open up my calculator. Oops. I will just calculate A. So, negative 3 plus square root of 5 divided by 2. And do you remember what is asking is not just the value of x, but x cubed plus 1 over x cubed, right? So what you have to do, so over here, our aim is x cubed plus 1 over x cubed. So I'm doing negative 3 plus square root of 5 over 2. And then I'm gonna cube that number. Right? And then plus 1 over answer. Okay, to avoid roundup error. So you know what I've got? Negative 18, which is good. Now I'm gonna try negative 3 minus square root of 5. So which is negative 3 square root of negative 3 minus square root of 5 divided by 2, and then I cube that number and then plus 1 over that answer. Hold on. Negative 3 minus square root of 5 divided by 2, and I cube that number, and then plus 1 over that number. Yes, again I've got negative 18 again. So that should be the answer. That's quite an interesting question. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this question. I will see you next time. 안녕.